What's up, guys? LQ here with my review of the first two episodes of Star Trek Starfleet Academy. Now, I need to make one thing very clear. There is nobody who went into these first two episodes wanting to hate this more than me. I even put several posts about it on social media. I said something along the lines of, I'm only going to watch this so I can trash it online. Like, that was the level of disdain that I had for this show going into it. My level of pre-decided disdain. This poster, I thought looked terrible. Like, CW decided to make 90210 set in space. Like, I hated everything about it. Now, also, I haven't been a big fan of the new era Kurtzman Trek. I just haven't. I hated Discovery. I think Discovery is embarrassing for everybody involved in it. I hated Discovery. It was a show that just confirmed my beliefs that Paramount does not understand Star Trek. Let's see here. Strange New Worlds. Season 1, I thought was pretty good. After that, I completely lost all interest. Like I said, after season 1 of Strange New Worlds, it reaffirmed my belief Paramount has no idea what they're doing. They do not understand their own product. Picard season 1, I thought was a big letdown. I thought season 2 was a little bit better with Q. I thought that season 2 was at least a little bit watchable, but season 1 I thought was terrible, an embarrassment to the Picard character. Season 3 I thought was very well done, and I hold season 3 up there as a wonderful season of Star Trek. Lower Decks, Below Decks, whatever it's called, the animated, that's not for me. I understand a lot of people like it. Respect. It's not for me. So, clearly, I haven't loved new era Star Trek. Like I said, Discovery, I think, is dumpster fire, gutter sludge. So here we go into Starfleet Academy, which really is a sequel to Discovery. It picks up after the burn, where it's been 120 years, and Starfleet has decided they're going to reopen Starfleet Academy. Starfleet is going to reform, and they're going to have a new class of Starfleet recruits. And I went into it wanting to hate it so bad. And I didn't. I didn't hate it. All right, let's get into it a little bit. Episode 1 was a little bit rough. I'll say that. So episode 1, we're introduced to Holly Hunter's character, who Nala Aki, I think her name is, who worked for Starfleet, and she arrested a mother and separated the mother from the son. All right, now I get Star Trek has always been somewhat political. You know, people will get online and say, you don't know anything. Star Trek's always been woke. Okay, Star Trek's always been progressive. Star Trek has always been a progressive show. But Star Trek always put the narrative first. Narrative before message. Star Trek always did that in the original series and Next Generation. You know, they always put the narrative before message. The story was the most important thing. So, and Star Trek always examined whatever topic they were addressing. They would always examine it from a human perspective. They would look at whatever progressive topic is being discussed. They would look at it, and they would present it, and the characters would come to their conclusion, but the audience would also come to their own conclusion. And in this, there's no presenting this issue of, well, mom broke the law, so we have to separate the mom and the kid. This was just separating mom and kid bad. And that was as deep as the writers thought about it. Which, I'm pretty center politically. I think that anybody who's been around my channel knows that. There's some areas where I identify with conservatives, there's other areas where I identify with liberals, and there's other areas where I think that they both have it wrong and they're both just quackdoodles. That's probably how I feel about most issues, honestly. So the bottom line is there's no examination here. There's just, this is the issue, bad. And Star Trek should be an examination of the human experience, and it should take modern issues that we're dealing with today and then insert them into what would those issues look like way, way, way in the future, and then how would we as humans examine those issues. And the whole new era of Trek has failed to do that. The whole new era of Trek is, like I said, I realize Trek has always been progressive, but the whole new era of Trek is woke. And that is something that has definitely held it back. But I digress. This is mostly a positive review. Another piece that I didn't like about this was Holly Hunter's character becomes the new chancellor of the Starfleet Academy, and she brings in Caleb, who is the son who was separated from his mom 15 years ago. I like the character Caleb. I think that there's a lot of interesting stories that can be told with him. I like that he kind of has a grudge against Starfleet, but he is choosing to dedicate his life to them, choosing to trust them to be better. I think that all that is intriguing. And quite frankly, I just like the actor that plays him. I think the actor that plays Caleb is doing a very good job. But I am not a fan of, really, okay, there's parts of her character that I like, of Holly Hunter's captain. There's parts of her character that I like. The diplomacy part in episode 2, I really liked. But her nonchalant way of just putting her feet up in the captain's chair and using swear words on the bridge, which I've said this before on my channel, I'm not a prude. I'm not someone who's against swearing in movies and swearing in TV. But looking back at the history of Star Trek, there was always a certain level of decorum by our captains. And she just seems like she doesn't give a crap. And she seems like either A, she doesn't give a crap, or B, she is above that decorum. She is better than that decorum. And none of that is stuff that I really like. And I didn't really like Paul Giamatti's character, the villain that is after the warp drive. It just, for some reason, this modern era of Trek wants to really create these action-heavy scenarios. And I think Trek is always at its best when there is a villain, but the villain isn't a mustache-twirling villain. The villain is a culture we don't understand, an alien we don't understand, someone who is doing something to us that's part of their culture, or somebody who's doing something to us to teach us this big moral lesson of being humans and being people in the galaxy. I think that those are your best villains. And then when you do have your mustache twirling villains, it's still engaging. The greatest villain ever in Star Trek is Khan. Well, in The Wrath of Khan, Kirk and Khan never even come face to face with each other. It's a battle of wits. It's a battle of wills. It's a strategic battle. There's no throwing down. There's no space kung fu. There's no choreography. It's not overly produced. It's the story of two intelligent people trying to outwit and outmaneuver one another. You look at something like one of the other great Star Trek movies, The Undiscovered Country. Again, you don't have Kirk throwing down with the villain of that movie. What's his name again? Karg is coming to mind, but I don't think that's it. But either way, you're not seeing these big kung fu moves by Kirk and the Klingon villain in Undiscovered Country. It's a battle of minds, battle of strategy, and I think that's really when Trek is at its best. So when Paul Giamatti's character beams onto the Athena, and him and Caleb start fighting against each other, it doesn't feel like Star Trek to me. It feels like they're wanting to insert stuff into it that is appealing to today's young kids. That's really what it feels like to me. While we're on the topic of things that I'm not a fan of, didn't care for the Athena. I don't think it's a good looking ship. I think it looks stupid. Sorry. I think the Athena looks stupid. It's the saucer with wings. Okay. It looks stupid. Let's get to the stuff that I do like, because there's a lot. I think the cast is great. I think that the cast, you have Caleb, you have Jayden, you have Genesis, you have Sam, you have these characters that I think they all have really great chemistry together. And I thought that the whole 90210 in Star Trek, I thought it was going to be stupid, but it actually really worked for me. After the first episode was done and they had to get off their whole, look how action-packed this is going to be. Once the first, which by the way, there's some great effects in episode 1. Some great special effects. That's definitely a positive. Episode 2 is really when this season took off for me. The chemistry between the main characters was great. There was some really excellent light-hearted moments, some moments where they was able to inject some good comedy, and Star Trek should always have some good comedy in it. Nothing that's like fart jokes or anything like that, but comedic moments. And I thought that Starfleet Academy Episode 2 did a great job of inserting those in. I also really liked what is the name of Deanna Troy's... Beta Z. I really liked the negotiations between Starfleet and Beta Z, and the daughter of the Beta Z president or chancellor. I thought that she was a fantastic character. I thought that seeing her eyes light up when they saw the humpback whales, which obviously was a reference to the voyage home, I thought that was a great moment. It felt very Star Trek to me. It felt very much exploring brave new worlds, only it's not human beings exploring brave new worlds out on the planet, out in the galaxy. It's somebody from another planet exploring brave new worlds, and it happens to be Earth. It felt very true to the spirit of Star Trek, and I loved that moment. And quite frankly, like I said, she's one of my favorite characters, and I hope that moving on from here, she gets a lot of screen time, and that her and Caleb are able to become the Riker and Troy of Starfleet Academy. I hope that Genesis is able to follow her career path to becoming a captain. I think that she has a ton of screen charisma, and I thought that she was an excellent character. Not crazy about Sam as a holographic character. Not crazy about a hologram. It's the new Data, right? I'm a holographic character and I'm only a few weeks old. Not crazy about that, but what I liked about Data and what I liked about Spock was that these characters give us the opportunity to explore humanity from somebody who isn't human. And I think that there's going to be opportunities to do that with Sam. So while I'm not sold on the character at the moment, I'm open-minded to seeing where they take this character in the future. And I think that the actress that plays her has a ton of emotion, has a ton of screen presence, and I think that she's going to how do I say this? She's just very bubbly and very, very fun, and I think that this is going to be a great character for the show. Even though I'm not sold on a hologram being a character yet, even though the Doctor has been. All right. We have some returning characters, obviously the Doctor. We have the teacher who was on Discovery. I like the Doctor. I could give or take the teacher from Discovery. But like I said, I really like this cast. I think they have a ton of chemistry, and I really liked the political maneuverings that was going on in this. I liked the Easter eggs that there was. The Boothby Park I thought was really great, and the Boothby Memorial Park I thought that was really great, and the Kirk Pavilion. Obviously, there's a ton of Easter eggs in there, and that's fun for the fans. As long as they don't overdo them, it's fun for the fans. So, yeah, nobody went into this wanting to hate it more than I did. And while I feel like the first episode had a lot of problems, I felt that the second episode was just great Star Trek. I really did. And it kind of pains me to say that because I'm going to have to walk back some stuff I've said to some people. But I thought the second episode was great Star Trek. And I genuinely cannot wait to see what they come up with next. All the problems I have with it aside, I am hopeful and optimistic that this is going to be a good show. Because I really like the second episode. And the first episode was okay. I had some problems with it, but the first episode was okay. So, there you have it. I had to eat my words. So far, Starfleet Academy is good Trek. Never let anybody say that I go into anything having already decided my opinion on it. Because if something is good, I am able to change my mind. My mind was changed with Starfleet Academy. All right, guys, what do you think of the first 2 episodes of Starfleet Academy? Let me know in the comments down below. While you're down there commenting, make sure that you subscribe to my channel. And until next time, we'll see you guys later.